What are the best, most reliable SUVs that you can buy for under $20,000? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Help Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. In this video, I'm going to go through 10 of the very best and most reliable SUVs that you can buy on the market with a budget of under $20,000. Of course, for under 20 grand, this list is going to consist of used SUVs, anywhere from just a few years old to as much as 12 years old, depending on the model. It's important to keep in mind that there is a very severe industry-wide car shortage, and used car prices have gone up substantially, so when possible, it often does make sense to go for a brand new car over a used car. If your budget just can't stretch high enough, however, and you want to spend less than $20,000, then these are the 10 SUVs that are best to focus on. Let's get started with my number 10 pick, which is the Subaru Outback. Now, the Outback is not exactly a traditional SUV. It's actually somewhere between a wagon and a crossover, but for many buyers, it fits the category just fine. What makes the Outback a very attractive choice is its blend of practicality, long-term reliability, and safety. It's a surprisingly spacious crossover with tons of interior space, making it a great choice for families that need to carry a lot of stuff. It's also well regarded in terms of safety, especially if you can buy a model that has Subaru's EyeSight active safety technology, which includes features like automatic emergency braking. The Outback generally has a very strong reputation for long-term reliability too. So if the Outback is such a great choice, why exactly is it the last one on this list? Well, like a lot of Subaru models, older Outbacks are known for some engine issues, including oil consumption and head gasket issues, which can be very expensive to fix. These issues were solved over the years though, so in order to protect yourself, it's best to buy one as new as possible, ideally one no more than 8 or 9 years old. If you prefer a more traditional SUV, however, then take a look at number 9 on the list, which is the Toyota 4Runner. No question, if you're looking for the most durable, long-lasting SUV possible, it's really hard to do any better than the Toyota 4Runner. It has one of the most legendary reputations for long-term reliability, and these things are known to last for hundreds of thousands of miles without having any serious problems. Not only is it a rock-solid, reliable SUV, but it's also very capable. This is a great SUV if you plan to do any kind of towing, and it's also capable of going off-roading too. The only real issue with the 4Runner is because it's such a desirable SUV with such an amazing reputation that used car prices are through the roof. In order to find a decent 4Runner for under 20 grand, you're going to have to buy something that's pretty old with high mileage. Even so, if you can find one that's around 10 to 12 years old with reasonable mileage that got it passed by a really good mechanic, then it should still be able to last you a very long time. If you just want something newer and fresher, however, and don't mind downsizing, then take a look at number 8 on the list, which is the Subaru Crosstrek. Being a small, affordable crossover, brand new Crosstreks are not too expensive to begin with, so it's not too difficult to find a lightly used one for under $20,000. And if you can find a reasonably new one for under $20,000, you're going to be getting a great small SUV, one that has an excellent reputation for long-term reliability, safety, all wrapped together in a really practical package. All Crosstreks come standard with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system, which is great, and the newer versions were also available with EyeSight active safety tech, which means you can get valuable safety features like automatic emergency braking too. The Crosstrek is a great choice, but if you're looking for something a lot bigger and more practical, then take a look at number 7 on the list, which is the Toyota Highlander. If you're looking for a large 3-row SUV, you really can't go wrong choosing the Highlander. It has been around for over 2 decades and has built one of the best reputations for long-term reliability on the market. Highlanders are known to last an extremely long time, often over 200,000 miles without having any serious issues. And these are very practical SUVs with plenty of interior space for up to 7 passengers, great performance and towing capability, and an excellent safety score too. The only real issue with the Highlander is that, like the 4Runner, it can be very tricky to find a really good one with reasonable mileage for under $20,000. If you are having a really hard time finding a good Highlander for under 20 grand, some really good alternatives for a 3-row SUV include the Honda Pilot and Mazda CX-9. Both are also great SUVs that give you a lot of value, but if you're able to find a Highlander of the same age and mileage for around the same price and great condition, no question, that would definitely be the one I would go for. If you don't need as much space as the Highlander offers though, and don't mind a smaller SUV, then you could get yourself something a little bit newer, like number 6 on the list, which is the Honda CR-V. The CR-V has long been known as one of the best and most reliable small SUVs on the market. For under 20 grand, you'll likely have to get one that's at least 5 or 6 years old, most likely the previous generation model built up to 2016. But that's okay because CR-Vs built up to that point used a very simple and long-lasting 2.4-liter four-cylinder engine that's actually more reliable than the 1.5 turbo found on the newer models. There's nothing too fancy about the CR-V, but if you're just looking for economical and reliable transportation, it's definitely a very easy SUV to recommend. Of course, the same is also true of number 5 on this list, which is the Subaru Forester. Like the CR-V, the Forester is a compact crossover SUV with a great reputation for safety, long-term reliability, and excellent value for money. A budget of up to 20 grand should buy you the previous generation model built between 2014 and 2018. As with all Subarus, Foresters come standard with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, and the newer models were available with EyeSight active safety tech too. Because of their great reputation and popularity, they do have very strong resale value, so it could be a little bit tricky to find a relatively new one for under 20 grand, but if you can do so, you're going to be getting a great SUV. But if you want something a little bit newer and don't mind a slightly smaller package, then take a look at number 4 on the list, which is the Honda HR-V. The HR-V is Honda's subcompact crossover SUV, and because they are pretty affordably priced brand new, it's not too difficult to find a lightly used one for under 20 grand. Even though it is a small crossover, the HR-V is surprisingly spacious on the inside, and the rear seats can be folded up or folded completely flat to give you even more space. You can get the HR-V with either front wheel or all-wheel drive. Either way, you get a simple and very fuel-efficient 1.8-liter four-cylinder engine that also has a very good reputation for reliability too. Bottom line, if you have a budget of under 20 grand and just want the newest SUV possible, it's really hard to find a better option than the Honda HR-V. If you want something larger and a lot more luxurious, but don't mind going older, then take a look at number 3 on the list, which is the Lexus RX. Without question, if you really want to have a luxury SUV and have less than 20 grand to spend, then the safest option to go with is definitely the Lexus RX. No other luxury SUV has a better reputation for long-term reliability than the RX. These things are practically indestructible, with a legendary reputation for lasting an extremely long time. Unlike other luxury SUVs, which would never stand a chance, it's not uncommon to see an RX last for 15 or even 20 years without needing any expensive repairs. And if you're looking for comfort, luxury, and interior space, the RX definitely delivers. For under 20 grand, you're likely going to have to buy one that's at least 10 years old, but as long as you can find one with reasonable mileage that gets a pass by a mechanic, you should be fine for a very long time. Moving on to number 2 on the list, the Toyota RAV4. Bottom line, if you just want a safe, reliable, long-lasting SUV, it's really hard to find anything better than the RAV4. It has one of the best reputations for long-term reliability on the market, which has helped it become the best-selling SUV in North America. And because they're so popular, it's not too difficult to find a decent one for under 20 grand. But even so, the RAV4 does have extremely strong resale value, so you'll likely need to settle for something that's at least 6 to 8 years old if you want to get something with reasonable mileage. But if you prefer a small SUV that's a little bit newer and fresher, but with a very similar reputation for long-term reliability, then take a look at number 1 on the list, which is the Mazda CX-5. The CX-5 has been around since 2013, becoming one of the first models to be developed when Mazda was a fully independent Japanese brand using their new Skyactiv technology. Most Mazdas since that time period have developed a very strong reputation for excellent build quality and reliability, and the CX-5 is definitely no different. Not only is the CX-5 extremely reliable, but it's also pretty fuel efficient, has great performance and handling, and it has a reasonably spacious interior too. It's just a very well-rounded package, and because the CX-5 is not quite as popular as other small SUVs, like the RAV4 and CR-V, you can find used ones that are a little bit newer and lower mileage for a very similar price. Given the choice, it just makes more sense to get a newer and lower mileage CX-5 for the same price as an older RAV4, CR-V, or Forester, which is why it takes the number 1 spot on this list. But even so, like I said earlier in the video, the auto industry is currently experiencing a very severe car shortage, which means that used car prices have gone up by around 30 to 50% across the market. It can be extremely challenging to get a decent deal on a used vehicle right now, which is why it often makes more sense to spend a little bit more money just to get something brand new. But even so, if you've decided that a used vehicle is the way to go for you, then you really can't go wrong with any of the SUVs on this list. So let me know what you think of my top 10 picks. Would you buy any of them, or would you buy something else instead? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also take a look at some of my other car videos by checking out these links over here. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. And if you need any additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to check out carhelpcanada.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.